guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at one of my favorite filming spot locations because guess what? We have that new redesigned look to one of the standouts from this brand's lineup. What the heck is it? This is the all-new redesigned 2025 Subaru Forester. This particular one is a limited trim. But before we get into this symmetrical all-wheel drive Horizon Blue, that's the name of the color, Forester, let's talk about what's going on here. 27 years old. The Subaru Forester is 27 years old, and it's fascinating because before crossover SUVs were a thing, you would always see a Forester or an Outback, and it would always get your attention because it looks so different from the other vehicles on the road back then. But now Subaru has kind of like come to this point where their vehicle lineup has really gravitated towards what people are desiring in the market with crossover SUVs. So you still have, obviously, the Forester, 27 years old. Above that, you have the Outback, and above that is the Ascent. What about below the Forester? Of course, you're gonna have the Crosstrek. Now, what's fascinating is they still have the Impreza as of right now, but they decided to bring some major changes to the Forester. And this is one of their top sellers. I mean, since its iteration, they have sold over 2.7 million Foresters. That's crazy. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead, I want to dive in, see what the Forester is bringing for 2025, and I want to find out, is it better than, say, a Honda CR-V or maybe even a Toyota RAV4? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our new Forester and find out. Right off the bat, Horizon Blue. Now this isn't the famous World Rally Blue, but this is one of the more popular color choices for Forester. You're gonna have, obviously, your different trims, this one being a limited, then you have Sport, and then you have Touring. Touring is gonna be that top trim. And we like to bring all the trims, so don't worry, we'll be bringing the other trims of the Forester to you. Now on the limited, here's your new face. We have all new LED daytime running lamps, turn signals, projector beam headlights, and a new headlight housing that interlocks very cleanly with the upper grille. Working our way down, you're gonna have LED fog lamps, and that is like a traditional thing. Like when I think Subaru, I think rally, and when I think rally, I think fog lights. And that's nice to see, and the way that they nestled them in those triangular areas, I think looks very sharp. Now to bring a little bit of extra pizzazz to the front end, you do have a little bit of this gunmetal metallic gray painted finish with a kind of ridged, perforated area of flat black plastic, just to give it a little bit of extra rather than just having it be plain black. Let me know how if you like this area in the front bumper. Now, as we come across that iconic badge, the Subaru badge, you got your Constellation, you'll see more of that gunmetal metallic gray finish, even in the horizontal bars here, and then working your way down, you do have functionality in the center, and then you have a mega scooper down on the bottom portion. Now, I'm glad that they kept this all flat black because remember, with symmetrical all-wheel drive, it's not just about having the grip on asphalt, but it's also doing some light off-roading with this vehicle. And no word yet on the Forester Wilderness, but if they're smart, I think Subaru's gonna do a redesign for that one as well coming up. Hopefully we get our hands on that soon. But let me know how you feel about the face of this Forester compared to, say, a CR-V. Now, as we rise up, I like the way the hood has more of a flat, higher style to it. Kind of gives it a little bit of boldness, a little bit of muscle without going too over the top. You're gonna have that nice, simple raise in the center, and then everything else kind of just waterfalls off the edges into the fenders. Now, as we come around the bend, of course, if we have new redesigned body, you gotta have redesigned wheels. And when you go limited, you're gonna get the 18-inch wheels. Now, if you go Sport or Touring, you're gonna be able to get 19-inch wheels. But you have the machined aluminum, that nice painted finish, metallic gunmetal gray finish on them. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the tire size? You're looking at 225 on the width, 55 series sidewall, and we have just a little bit of flat black around the fender openings. I'm okay with it on the limited trim. I think it fits nicely. Now, as we rise up, love the way that they have this indentation on the fender. Gives it a nice little bit of extra oomph. And then I'm gonna have Steven kind of swing around and show off how we have that venting actually in the back side of the fender. Now, the great news is that the Forester chassis is actually 10% more rigid than the outgoing one. So that's gonna give us a better driving experience, less noise and vibration harshness. As we kind of zoom in, because this is a limited trim, you do have that metallic gunmetal gray on the mirror caps. There's your LED turn signals. Of course, you're gonna have your raised roof rails. You could get the Subaru accessory crossbars, put your kayak up there, put your cargo carrier. You could even put, I would say, if they had some type of, like if you're driving around, if you're going to Wally World and you have your mother-in-law in the car, you could probably find some type of carrier for her to be on top of that roof. Now, you do have color matched horizon blue on the mirror caps. Down below, I like the way they took some of the design from the nose, that texturized flat black with the gunmetal metallic gray. Just gives it, like I said, that little sprinkling. It's sort of like when you go to Baskin-Robbins and you get the sundae and then you put some sprinkles on it. It's giving that extra oomph, which I know Steven is a big fan of sprinkles. He puts sprinkles even on his pizza. It's kind of weird. Now, as we come down the side, I love the size of the quarter window. Really allows a lot of light to come in, and that's something that even from the side of the vehicle, Subarus, especially Foresters, tend to have a large greenhouse. And what I mean by that is very large areas of window space. That, of course, gives you great visibility, but also doesn't make it feel so claustrophobic inside. Now, working towards our rear, we have the symmetrical all-wheel drive. Power going to the rear wheels, power going to the front wheels. I like the way they move the badge off the back of the vehicle to the rear pillar here, and they put it in this flat black trim. And then as we swing it around back, just like up front, they went really modern with the taillights, LED brake lights. Like the way they did the style on the interior there. And the way that they hid those DOT required reflectors in that little triangular area. Now you're gonna have a nice long roof spoiler and an exposed wiper. Now the reason why I'm not gonna zonk this is because I feel like on Subarus, people wanna have the exposed wiper. It's like part of that utilitarian experience and style of a Subaru. New for 2025, they just take the name, boom, stamp it in. That to me looks so much cleaner. A little bit of metallic black across the back. And then working our way down the ground level, even though this is a limited, you are gonna get a stainless steel exhaust finisher with that gunmetal gray and that other texturized material. And then I even like the way they went dark gray on the Subaru badge. But you'll notice no more symmetrical all-wheel drive badge, and the Forester name is stamped into the back. Really cleans up the back of the vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk power in this Forester. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. One of the great things about a Subaru is not just the all-wheel drive, but also the flat 4 engine. So with it being a flat 4, you can see how low in the chassis the engine sits. That lowers your center of gravity. Another thing I like about Subarus is you get to see all the inner bits. Here's your individual intake runners in your intake plenum, your throttle body, intake tube. Obviously you have your air box, there's your alternator, and you have your oil filter mounted up top. But let's get to the nitty gritty. What about the goods? So you have a 2.5 liter flat 4, naturally aspirated, 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a CVT transmission, 0 to 60 in a little bit sluggish 8.1 seconds. Now, I gotta give it to Subaru though, because even though it has a CVT and it's not the fastest, with all-wheel drive, full-time all-wheel drive, you're gonna win at the MPGs. 26 in the city, 33 on the highway. The vehicle weighs 3,613 pounds, and the vehicle can tow 1,500 pounds. And what's nice is that the new Forester also has a hands-free ability of opening up the rear liftgate, which is nice. That's a new first-time thing. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this flat 4 and hear it rumble. right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Subaru Forester Limited. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm glad that you're bringing this because I was this close to buying a previous gen, but I've noticed that Subaru has brought some new tech to some of their other models, and I'm glad to see that it's trickling into the Forester. But how much is it? Very good question. MSRP for the way that this Limited is optioned is right at $38,530. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I love the materials. Soft touch black up top. You got a little this microfiber suede material, and then that off gray area looks really good. Soft touch on the armrest. The only gloss black is around the door handle, and you're really not going to touch that, which is nice. Door pocket is big enough, I would say, for 5 Uncrustables and a big old bottle of freshly squeezed milk from your favorite cow. And we have the multi-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, look at the materials. I love this sort of like off gray finish with the way they texturized it, just like they did on the exterior. The stitching, even this wood style finish, nice light wood, just looks very modern and fresh. Slide on in. Now you get the same great 11.6-inch infotainment system. It is the portrait style, but I like the way that it's integrated cleanly into the dash. You have real knobs for audio, some dual climate control buttons, and then what's great is that you have auxiliary gauges, but you could also scroll through other information up top, which is nice as well. So you have that functionality up top, even with weather. And remember, we have X mode, normal, snow, dirt, deep snow and mud. That's the symmetrical all-wheel drive magic. Down below, you're going to have 3 stages of heated seats. One thing that they did, which is so smart, they got the auto start stop and put it on the main page, so you could turn it off very easily right there. We could go into our car settings. Here's another way where you can make all your adjustments. Updated eyesight technology, smaller, plus you have disabled driver control, where if you pass out, the Forester will come to a safe stop with its flashers and call medical emergency attention for you. Let me throw it into reverse. Backup camera, I wish the resolution was better, so that's definitely a zonk, and I would like this to be a little bit larger, like bring it down, but you do have trajectory lines, which are great. Put it right back into park, hit home, and there we are. Working our way down, you got your blower fan controls, your dual climate, like I said, aux jack, USB-C, USB-A, and wireless charging, like the new material that they put in here. This is going to control your CVT transmission. Nice looking shift boot with the stitching. 2 cup holders. You're still going to get the same great Subaru key fob. I love the way it's got the badge right there. You have a 12 volt, easily accessible. Love this soft material, and it's like a wetsuit material. I kind of really like it with the stitching. Open it up. You have enough room in there. Easily put a package of bacon bits. Well, bacon bits for you and your salad. But then you got bacon strips. You could put a bag of bacon strips in there for your furry son or furry daughter. I know Oscar, my furry son, loves treats, and I would be able to fill that up with tons of his favorites. And then the seats. This really nice leather style material, super soft, perforated. Love the 2-tone. You got a full electrical assist for the passenger, full electric assist for the driver, and guess what? I'm not freaking even done yet. Nice, large sunroof. It's almost panoramic with how big it is. That's pretty impressive. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel in this new Forester. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. I want to show you the pedal box, not because of the pedals, but because of these new floor mats. Nice, thick material with the Forester name. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower. I got my seat controls, easy to get to. And then remember, I'm 6 feet tall, and one of the great things, like I said, about that large greenhouse is visibility, but also space in here. Steering wheel, you got the leather all the way around, the contrast stitching, flat black on the buttons. It is a heated steering wheel. You do have paddles on the back of the wheel to go through simulated gears with the CVT. And this is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you have a small digital display in the center with analog gauges on both sides. You also have, of course, your SI drive, which you could go into sport or intelligent mode, which is kind of nice for your driving. But other than that, very straightforward. Let's get into the back seat and see if your passenger is going to be happy that you went Forester over CRV. All right, guys, back seat time. And once again, I mean, this is an area where you're going to have way more room than the CRV. I mean, I'm sitting back here. I feel fantastic. Backs of the seat, you got the two-tone. I'm glad that they put the darker material on most of the rear of the seat in case your kids are eating powdered donuts or chocolate fudge and getting fingerprints all over this. Look at all the pockets. You got pockets for maps, pockets for dog trails, pockets for your phone, pockets for candy. Subaru knows pockets and storage, that's for sure. As you slide on in, we have a USB-C, USB-A, and we have rear AC vents. I have just as many pockets on my side as you have, so you can't be jealous. And then, or I can't be jealous. And then, like I said, the amount of room in here, I mean, I feel really good in here. Pull this down. I think Subaru partners up with Charmin because this is Charmin Soft, 2 cup holders. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in that cargo area and see how much room there is in the new Forester. All right, guys, cargo area time. Like I said, there's hands-free capability with the new Forester, or you could do it the old-fashioned way, hit the button, nice electric assist. The first thing I want to show you is look how low the bumper level is. They do that on purpose so that your dogs can get in and out. Because remember, dogs and Subaru go together like America and apple pie and hot dogs. But when you get into the back cargo area, you have 28 cubic feet of space with the seats up. I like the way they have the switch gear to put the rear seats down. It's a 60-40 split. You got a 12 volt, so you could do maybe some tailgating, or maybe you're at a campsite. You got a place here for a Yeti can or a dog bowl. On the passenger side, there's our other switch to fold down the seat, and we have our Harman Kardon subwoofer. And I like the way they did a nice touch with the cargo mat in there with the river design. Now, if you put that back seat down, how much space do we have? 69 cubic feet of space. That means you would easily be able to get a couple German Shepherds in here, some Schnauzers, some Rat Terriers, and about 10 other Chihuahuas in there. So you could definitely have a packed party of man's best friend. But why don't we go ahead? If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go see how this new Forester goes down the road on throttle. All right, guys, we're behind the wheel of the new redesigned Forester. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit that S button. That's going to put it into sport mode and just give you a little bit, you know, different driving experience based off of throttle sensitivity and how the engine and the transmission behave with one another. But the fabulous news is that you are going to love these seats. I mean, they redid the frames. The seats are now bolted straight to the floor instead of on this complicated track system, and that's gonna cut down on all the noise and vibration coming in through the seat. Getting to the infotainment system, I mean, look at this. Easy fingertip access, but it's how it gets down the road which just makes it very comfortable. And even though I live in Florida, you know, we do get a lot of rain. We have sometimes a very bad hurricane season, and all-wheel drive can come in very handy when the roads are extra wet or flooded. But definitely going down the highway here, you're gonna immediately notice the difference with the amount of noise coming into the cabin and vibration coming into the cabin from the previous gen. It's not perfect by any means, because you have to remember that you still have those raised roof rails up top, and you know, with a little bit more, shall I say, boxier design, it's not going to cut through the air like a hot knife through butter, but it is definitely better. Now, gauges, some people might want a full digital display. I still like the analog gauges. I think they're very easy to read at a glance and give you all the pertinent information. Of course, you have your X mode, which is nice, and you got plenty of room for your backseat passengers as well. But navigating this Forester, it's such a breeze when it comes to overall handling and maneuverability that I think you're going to enjoy how it makes you feel when you're behind the wheel, especially when it comes into safety, because Subaru always gets that 5-star plus highway safety rating. You got the eyesight technology behind the, or I should say in front of the rear view mirror, and that allows, or I should say at the front of the vehicle, front of the windshield, that is going to give you all of that ultimate safety where it comes to emergency brake assist, lane keep assist. Those are the things that are going to make sure that you arrive alive every time you get behind the wheel. But I'm going to slow down a little bit here. There's nobody in this lane as of yet. And we're going to go on throttle. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. So it definitely takes as long as advertised, about 8.1 seconds. But with that being said, with the naturally aspirated engine, it does have some usable torque down below in the lower rev range, which is nice. But boy, oh boy, would it be cool if they brought back the Forester XT and added that turbocharged flat 4 to this vehicle. But just very impressive with the overall level of comfort, even with this being one of their smaller crossover SUVs besides the Crosstrek. Very, very comfortable and lots of great tech, not only in the infotainment system, but also when it comes to safety as well. But we're gonna go ahead and get back to where it started to wrap this Forester up, so I'll see you in a Subaru second. It's been another great day in so many ways. Definitely gotta thank Todd, Dominic, and Aaron over at Subaru USA for getting us access to this 2025 Subaru Forester Limited. Let me know what you think. Do you like the changes that Subaru has made? Are you gonna get one of these over a CRV? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rise family. We need to give it up. Stephen Flood Photography. Follow him on Instagram, TikTok, MySpace, and all the other social media platforms. Thank you, Stephen. Show him some love in the comment section. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.